In the final months of 2025, the Caribbean Basin was a region simmering with geopolitical tension. Political instability in Venezuela had created a volatile security environment, prompting the United States to increase its naval presence as a measure of regional deterrence. It was a delicate balancing act between projecting strength and avoiding provocation. On November 9th, before the sun rose over the Caribbean Sea, the water was calm and the sky was dark. The sea lay flat, silent, waiting, a deceptive tranquility that masked the undercurrents of conflict. A powerful United States Navy strike group sliced through the quiet waters on what was intended to be a routine mission. At the heart of this formation was the USS Gerald R. Ford, a state-of-the-art nuclear-powered supercarrier. Valued at over $13 billion, it was more than a warship. It was a floating projection of American military might. Its 4.5-acre flight deck was a fortress of air power, housing 54 advanced fighters, the fifth-generation F-35C Lightning II and the combat-proven F/A-18E Super Hornet. The mission was straightforward. Rotate aircraft and personnel into Naval Air Station Roosevelt Roads in Puerto Rico for precision strike training, a standard deployment designed to maintain readiness and project stability in a fragile region. For the nearly 7,000 sailors aboard, it was another day on the job. Flanking the massive carrier were two Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, USS John Finn and USS Gridley, the vigilant guardians of the strike group. Their advanced SPY-1 radar systems swept a wide arc around the formation, creating a multi-layered defensive perimeter of steel and sophisticated technology, capable of tracking hundreds of targets simultaneously. The crew moved with practiced precision, focused on the day's training exercises, entirely unaware of the confrontation rapidly forming just over the horizon. At 5:01 a.m., 27 nautical miles north of Venezuela's Paraguana Peninsula, well within international waters, the routine broke. A radar operator aboard the USS John Finn detected a fast-moving surface contact emerging from Venezuelan territorial waters. Its vector was direct, its intent immediately questionable. The vessel was accelerating well beyond normal maritime speed limits, closing the distance to the carrier group with alarming speed. As the radar return sharpened, the contact was identified. ARV Libertad 29, a Venezuelan patrol boat. But intelligence databases flagged a critical, dangerous modification. It was carrying sophisticated, Swedish-made RBS-15 anti-ship missiles. The threat was no longer ambiguous. It was imminent. The pre-dawn calm over the Caribbean was a fragile illusion, a thin veil over hours of escalating tension. At precisely 5:05 a.m., that veil was torn apart. The standoff ended, and the attack began. There was no final warning, no last-minute diplomatic channel, just the sudden, violent roar of rocket motors igniting in the darkness. The Libertad 29, a vessel of questionable origin, unleashed 11 supersonic anti-ship missiles. These were RBS-15s, a formidable sea-skimming weapon known for its sophisticated electronic countermeasures. They skimmed mere feet above the churning water, a flight profile deliberately chosen to hide within the radar clutter of the sea's surface, making them exceptionally difficult to detect and intercept. Each missile carried a 165-kilogram high-explosive warhead, a payload more than capable of tearing through the armored hull of a modern destroyer. This was a deliberate, coordinated strike aimed directly at the heart of the American formation, a high-stakes gamble to cripple the carrier group's command and control. Aboard the destroyer USS John Finn, the first line of defense, the Combat Information Center erupted in a cacophony of alarms. The ship's advanced SPY-1 radar had pierced the electronic veil. 11 hostile red icons, inbound at nearly 2,300 kilometers per hour. The crew had only minutes, perhaps seconds, before impact. Every second of training, every drill, was now being put to the ultimate test.
Activate the Aegis combat system. All batteries online. Fire control, engage.
Instantly, the Aegis combat system, the shield of the fleet, came alive. Every defensive battery and fire control system was channeled to counter the imminent threat. The launch was a grave miscalculation, born of bravado and a fundamental misunderstanding of the technological superiority they now faced. 11 warheads raced low across the waves, their guidance systems programmed for maximum destructive effect against high-value targets. In that moment, the tranquil Caribbean became a deadly proving ground for 21st-century naval warfare. For 7,000 sailors across the carrier strike group, the entire world narrowed to the next few terrifying moments. Decades of technological innovation and the unwavering resolve of a highly trained crew were about to collide with the enemy's aggression in a storm of fire and steel. As the missiles closed in, USS John Finn responded with overwhelming force. 17 SM-6 Block 1A interceptors launched, each a $4 million Guardian. Brilliant white trails carved the darkness, accelerating past Mach 3, guided by an AI-optimized radar network tracking multiple hypersonic threats with astonishing accuracy. Aegis calculated trajectories, assigned targets, and guided interceptors with inhuman precision. The sky turned into a lethal, calculated web. The first interception, just over 10 nautical miles. Then another, and another. 9 red icons disappeared in under 40 seconds. One RBS-15 slipped through with less than 70 meters to spare, still hunting. Gridley moved to fire its SM-2 battery. A cascading failure, damaged guidance module, left a multi-million-dollar interceptor motionless in its tube. At 5:21 a.m., the missile slammed into Gridley's forward deck, tearing an 18-meter gash and shattering the sonar dome. 3 sailors were thrown overboard, 2 suffered severe burns. Despite the damage, the escort had fulfilled its mission. The carrier remained intact. The shield bent, but did not break. While smoke spiraled from Gridley, Admiral Jonathan Pierce watched with a grim, focused stare. "We will strike back in a way they never see coming." A calculated, precise response, encrypted and sent to a hidden asset. 40 nautical miles away, the USS California waited in the deep. A Virginia-class nuclear attack submarine, one of the stealthiest in the world. It had been shadowing the Venezuelan warship. Operation Silent Trident, execute. Lieutenant Commander Mark Hensley reviewed the solution at attack depth, 125 meters. California's ANBQQ-10 sonar mapped every move, even the ship's unique propeller signature. A triumphant report, mission success, unaware of the hunter below.
"Solution locked," a technician murmured.
With authorization confirmed, execute counterstrike. The silent hunter prepared to unleash its weapons. The deadliest answers are often unheard. Firing circuits green. Doors safe open. Time to fire. At 5:32 a.m., deep beneath the Caribbean, California's forward launch doors heaved open. The first harpoon slid into black water, then another, and another. 11 missiles in under a minute, each with a 221-kilogram fragmentation warhead. The ocean swallowed their berth. One by one they erupted upward, boosters lifting them clear. Turbojets lit, 550 miles per hour skimming low. The attack vector exploited blind zones, approaching from below and behind the horizon. Defenses were depleted, computers trapped in reboot. The first harpoon tore into the midship fuel corridor. White-hot fire shot skyward. A second warhead ripped a 9-meter gash. Seawater flooded, bulkheads failed. 2 more tore through the deck. A 5th detonated beneath the bridge, killing 14 command officers instantly. Final blasts below the surface equaled 2,500 kilograms of high explosive. The Libertad 29, once national pride, split cleanly in 2. Steel twisted, burning, sinking into the Caribbean. The entire U.S. counterstrike lasted less than 4 minutes. Precision replaced brute force. Silence proved deadliest. As the sun rose, the full scope of the aftermath became brutally clear. By 5:40 a.m., a 2-nautical-mile oil slick spread across the sea. A toxic rainbow shimmering over twisted steel, charred insulation, and shattered superstructure. The once proud warship was now a smoldering ruin, its silhouette broken against the horizon. The air, thick with the smell of fuel and burnt metal, hung heavy over the Caribbean. A massive search and rescue operation was immediately underway, a desperate race against time. Out of more than 180 sailors on board, only 23 were found alive in the first hour, pulled from the oily water by U.S. and regional Coast Guard vessels that had rushed to the scene. The numbers painted a grim picture. Over 120 were thrown into the sea by the force of the explosions. As the hours wore on, hope faded. At least 60 remained missing, while recovery teams brought more than 40 bodies aboard rescue craft. The human cost was staggering. In Puerto Cabello, the initial confidence and nationalist fervor collapsed into disbelief and shock. The military command, which had celebrated a supposed victory just hours earlier, was now silent, unable to explain the catastrophic loss. The economic fallout was immediate. Oil futures surged 11% on the news. Citing unacceptable risk, maritime insurers froze coverage for any vessel operating within 90 nautical miles of Venezuela. Urgent navigation warnings rippled across the Caribbean, rerouting commercial traffic and effectively quarantining the region's shipping lanes. Days later, high-resolution imagery from a remotely operated vehicle confirmed the kill. The frigate was gone, its two halves resting deep below on the ocean floor. The U.S. presented its case to the world with irrefutable data. Radar logs, missile telemetry, and infrared tracking proved the U.S. fleet had remained in international waters at all times, operating fully within the rights of freedom of navigation. Washington's response was a case study in modern deterrence. The U.S. absorbed the initial blow, saved its carrier through superior defense, and answered with a single, precise strike. The message was clear. This was deterrence, not escalation. There were no follow-up strikes. No shore targets were engaged. There would be no widening war. The wreck, resting at 240 feet, became a silent monument to a catastrophic miscalculation. The incident underscored a fundamental truth of modern conflict. In war, discipline matters more than volume of fire. Restraint is not weakness. It is the ultimate expression of strength and control. A nation may fire the first shot, believing it can control the outcome, but it does not get to choose the price. Peace in the 21st century is not preserved by passivity, but by credible readiness, unambiguous rules of engagement, and the profound wisdom to know when to hold fire and when to strike. The story of that November morning was not just about a battle won or lost. It was written in fire, steel, and the deafening silence that followed. It served as a stark reminder that, in modern warfare, the most powerful weapon is often not the one that makes the most noise, but the one guided by patience, precision, and purpose.